Listen, y'all, I understand that these girls are of age, but this is just disgusting to me. It feels very predatory to me.
And that has nothing to do with him having this baby or him having this side girl for almost 15 years.
Beneath one of Hollywood's most famous homes lies a secret network of underground tunnels, so vast and mysterious that even the FBI was left stunned by its dark secrets. Rumors about Diddy's lavish lifestyle, extravagant parties, and strange occurrences at his estates have circulated for months. What seemed like the typical high life of a music mogul is now being re-examined as the FBI digs deeper into his properties. The investigation has unveiled a chilling underbelly, revealing that there's much more to Diddy's world than meets the eye. This jaw-dropping story is just beginning, and the implications are almost too wild to believe. What truths lie hidden in the shadows?
Man, I ain't gonna lie.
The FBI has been investigating Diddy since late 2023, following a series of shocking lawsuits from women like Cassie Ventura, who accused him of disturbing behavior throughout their decade-long relationship. While these civil suits were damaging, the investigation took a darker turn when federal agents began raiding his homes in early 2024. This wasn't your typical search. Agents weren't after mundane financial records or stolen art. Instead, they were pursuing something far more sinister. On March 24, one of Diddy's sprawling Los Angeles mansions became the scene of a significant bust. Although federal agents had visited before, what they discovered this time was beyond anyone's imagination. Acting on an anonymous tip about suspicious activities at the residence, agents arrived with the goal of uncovering what lay hidden beneath the surface, both literally and figuratively. The revelations from these raids have only deepened the mystery surrounding Diddy's world, raising more questions than answers. What secrets were buried beneath the opulence?
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear.
Diddy's mansion is a sprawling 170,000 square foot estate, featuring every luxury imaginable. Think infinity pools, private movie theaters, and countless bedrooms. But hidden beneath this opulence lies a labyrinth of sealed tunnels, long forgotten and shrouded in mystery. These weren't just architectural quirks or convenient passageways. They served a far more chilling purpose. According to sources close to the investigation, the tunnels were not empty corridors or secret escape routes. They were chilling dungeons, complete with cells built into the walls, locked from the outside. It felt like something out of a horror movie. But this was real life, and the FBI was now armed with hard evidence, no longer just chasing rumors. The critical questions linger. What were these cells designed for? And more importantly, who had been confined within them? As the investigation unfolds, the dark secrets hidden beneath the mansion threaten to reveal a sinister reality that goes beyond Diddy's glamorous facade.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Rumors are swirling that the tunnels beneath Diddy's mansion were used to imprison actual living people. While the FBI has remained tight-lipped about the specifics, insiders suggest that what they discovered down there was disturbing at best and horrifying at worst. Diddy and his team are scrambling to control the narrative, but they can't stem the tide of speculation that's emerged. The most chilling detail: reports indicate that the tunnels were revealed by a former associate of Diddy's, someone who had been part of his inner circle for years. This unnamed source reportedly tipped off federal agents after witnessing firsthand the unsettling activities taking place in the hidden depths of the mansion. It remains unclear how many individuals were allegedly confined in these underground cells, or for how long, but the mere fact that such a discovery was made has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, raising unsettling questions about the dark secrets lurking behind Diddy's glamorous facade.
Sounded crazy, like I said before. They said that 2,300 people reached out to the law firm, and out of the 2,300 people, I guess they decided to go with just a little over 100, which seems like it's they just put out the number and everybody's calling to see if they can get a check.
It's insane. It's insane. Now, again, he did say that nothing has been filed yet because he says he wants to make sure that they do their due diligence and get this right.
As more information emerges, the public is left questioning Diddy's motives behind the tunnels and the twisted allegations surrounding him. How did a man who built an empire on music, fashion, and media find himself at the center of such dark accusations? Some speculate that the underground cells were a means of controlling those close to him, people who may have known too much or posed a threat to his carefully curated image. Others suggest that these cells were part of a larger, more complex operation linked to his infamous parties and the elite guests who attended. Diddy's parties were legendary, known for their extravagance and allure, attracting A-list celebrities, models, and influencers from around the globe. But now, with the FBI's investigation gaining momentum, those same gatherings are being scrutinized in a new light. Were these lavish events merely a facade for something far more sinister? The idea that these celebrations could have served as cover for darker dealings raises unsettling questions about the true nature of Diddy's world, revealing a potential hidden agenda behind the glitz and glamour.
Oh, man, I just had like a 3.5-hour cry.
Eyewitnesses who attended Diddy's parties have started to come forward, sharing their unsettling experiences with investigators. According to one source who regularly attended these events, the gatherings were far from just glitz and glamour. Behind the scenes, in VIP rooms and private areas, things allegedly took a dark turn. It wasn't uncommon for guests to be ushered into secret rooms or taken downstairs, away from the main event. Now, with the discovery of the underground tunnels, those eerie accounts are beginning to make alarming sense. The FBI is piecing together the puzzle, and each new revelation seems to point to something even more twisted than the last. Some experts speculate that Diddy's mansion functioned not just as a party venue, but as a fortress designed to conceal the disturbing realities hidden within. The tunnels, the cells, and the secrecy all suggest a singular motive: control. Whether it was controlling the narrative surrounding his public persona or maintaining power over those in his inner circle, it's becoming increasingly clear that Diddy was willing to go to extreme lengths to protect his empire and silence any potential threats. The facade of luxury is unraveling, revealing a chilling truth beneath.
If that's part of the indictment, that's somewhat like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again.
As the investigation unfolds, more individuals from Diddy's past are coming forward to share bizarre and unsettling experiences at his homes. One former employee, who was part of the security team, described the mansion as a lockdown compound, where access to certain areas was heavily restricted. There were parts of the house that nobody was allowed to go near, he revealed. We were told to stay away from the basement level. I didn't ask questions, but looking back, it's clear something strange was happening. Another attendee of Diddy's infamous parties recalled a particularly unsettling night when she noticed a group of people being led away from the main event, disappearing down a set of stairs. It was like they vanished, she said. 1 minute they were there, and the next they were gone. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, with everything that's come out, I can't help but wonder what was really going on. These testimonies add to the mounting evidence of a hidden reality behind Diddy's glamorous facade.
If you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
The gradual unraveling of Diddy's once glamorous life is revealing a much darker side than anyone could have anticipated. It's not just about the tunnels, the cells, or the parties. It's about a deeply rooted culture of secrecy and control that he allegedly cultivated over the years. The FBI is still investigating, but it's clear that this is just the tip of the iceberg. The situation has escalated to the point where there's talk of Diddy facing severe legal consequences, with speculation that the charges could lead to life-altering penalties. Given the gravity of the situation, his legal team is working tirelessly to combat the allegations. However, the sheer volume of evidence being uncovered makes it increasingly difficult for them to keep pace. Some insiders even suggest that Diddy might resort to throwing his celebrity associates under the bus to deflect blame and protect himself. The stakes have never been higher, and the fallout is only beginning.
Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
One of the most shocking revelations comes from an anonymous source who worked closely with Diddy during his rise to fame. This insider claims that Diddy had been planning and constructing the tunnels for years, long before the public ever caught wind of them. He was always paranoid, the source said. He didn't trust anyone, and made sure there were ways to get out and ways to hide things. I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, it's clear those tunnels were part of something bigger, something darker. As more insiders come forward, it's becoming evident that Diddy's empire was built on more than just music and business acumen. There's a hidden side to his success, one that involved meticulous planning, secrecy, and a level of control that most people couldn't even begin to fathom. Whether the FBI will uncover the full extent of what has been happening behind closed doors remains uncertain. However, one thing is clear. Diddy's carefully crafted image is crumbling before our very eyes, exposing a reality far removed from the glitz and glamour.
Why at Diddy and other men like him, financial level and success level, that they cannot go get them somebody.
It's hard to believe that someone who once seemed to have it all, the fame, the fortune, the power, could be facing such catastrophic allegations. Yet, as the evidence mounts, it's becoming increasingly difficult to deny that something deeply troubling lies at the heart of this situation. With each new detail that emerges, we seem to inch closer to the truth, no matter how shocking or uncomfortable that truth may be. As rumors continue to swirl about what else might be hidden in those tunnels, one can't help but wonder how much more remains to be uncovered. Could there be additional hidden chambers, more secrets waiting to be revealed? What will the ultimate fallout be for Diddy and those in his inner circle? The FBI is remaining tight-lipped about their findings, but insiders indicate that the investigation is far from over. In fact, some believe that the worst is yet to come. There's talk of more raids, additional searches, and possibly even more arrests as authorities work to piece together the full scope of what has been happening at Diddy's properties. With every new piece of information that surfaces, the public's fascination with the case only grows, leaving many eagerly anticipating what revelations will come next.
I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to...
The media has been all over this story, with outlets from around the globe covering every twist and turn of the investigation. Some have even speculated about what might come next, whether more high-profile names will be dragged into the scandal, or if we're about to witness a downfall that Hollywood hasn't seen in decades. One thing is clear: Diddy's days of living in the shadows are over. The world is watching, and with the FBI hot on his trail, it seems only a matter of time before the full extent of his secrets is laid bare for all to see. This is where things get particularly interesting. While Diddy's team is doing everything they can to spin the narrative, the reality is that the evidence is mounting. The tunnels, the cells, the parties, they're all beginning to form a troubling picture. Whether Diddy can weather the storm remains uncertain, but one thing's for sure: the world will never view him the same way again. The glitz and glamour that once defined him are now overshadowed by a growing cloud of suspicion, and the truth is inching closer to the surface.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he has to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70. That's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
And that brings us to the next chapter in this twisted saga, where we begin to unravel the series of events that led to this moment. How did it all begin? How did a music mogul with the world at his feet end up facing some of the most serious allegations imaginable? How did someone as seemingly untouchable as Diddy, a man who built an empire from nothing, find himself at the center of shocking and disturbing claims? To understand the full scope of the situation, we need to rewind the clock and examine the events that led to this point. Let's be real. Diddy's fall from grace didn't happen overnight. It's been years in the making. The turning point kicked off in November 2023, when Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a bombshell lawsuit. This was not just any lawsuit. It was the kind that grabs headlines for all the wrong reasons. Cassie, who had been with Diddy for over a decade, came forward with allegations that painted a drastically different picture of the man once seen as a music industry kingpin. According to her, Diddy wasn't just a controlling boyfriend. He was allegedly involved in seriously troubling behavior behind closed doors. These claims would set off a chain reaction that would ultimately lead to the unraveling of Diddy's carefully crafted persona.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and rape at the hands of Diddy.
Cassie's lawsuit was filed under New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allowed adult victims to bring forth civil claims regardless of when the alleged events occurred. Cassie didn't hold back. She accused Diddy of everything from emotional manipulation to physical harm, painting a picture of a relationship far removed from the glamorous life portrayed in tabloids. In the court documents, she claimed that Diddy had a tight grip on every aspect of her life, keeping her under his control and forcing her into situations that were anything but consensual. She even described an incident in 2018 when he allegedly broke into her home in Los Angeles and forced himself on her just as she was trying to end the relationship for good. Things took a darker turn with the lawsuit's mention of what has now become infamous in Diddy's case, the so-called freak-offs. According to Cassie, Diddy orchestrated wild multi-day events where all sorts of questionable activities occurred. While Diddy's legal team was quick to deny these allegations, the damage was already done. Cassie's claims opened the floodgates, prompting numerous others who had stayed silent for years to come forward with their own troubling stories, further complicating the narrative surrounding Diddy's public persona.
Sean had to take responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for that.
But here's the twist. Cassie's lawsuit didn't drag on for months or years, as you might expect. In fact, it was settled just one day after it was filed. That's right, just one day. Diddy's legal team moved swiftly, and while the details of the settlement were kept under wraps, it was clear that Diddy wanted this issue to disappear as quickly as possible. However, settling a lawsuit doesn't exactly scream innocence, and it didn't take long for people to start wondering if there was more to the story than met the eye. They were right. Cassie's lawsuit was just the beginning. In the weeks that followed, more individuals came forward with their own allegations against Diddy. Some were women who claimed to have had similar experiences to Cassie, while others, including men like Rodney Lil Rod Jones, accused Diddy of a disturbing pattern of behavior that extended far beyond personal relationships. Rodney Jones, a music producer who had worked with Diddy on his latest album, filed his own lawsuit in February 2024, and the details were jaw-dropping. He didn't just accuse Diddy of inappropriate behavior. He claimed that Diddy had been running what he called a criminal enterprise for years. According to Jones, Diddy used his power and influence to manipulate and exploit those around him. He alleged that Diddy's empire wasn't built solely on music and business deals, but on carefully orchestrated schemes that included everything from surveillance to intimidation. Jones even claimed that Diddy pressured him into engaging in activities that far exceeded normal workplace expectations, and that he had hours of video footage to back up his accusations.
What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot of enemies, and I really don't believe.
The truth of these claims is still up for debate, but the sheer number of people coming forward, combined with the intensity of the accusations, made it clear that something was seriously amiss in Diddy's world. By March 2024, the FBI had taken a keen interest in his activities, executing those now infamous raids on his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. While we've already discussed the tunnels and other bizarre discoveries made during those searches, it's essential to grasp just how significant these raids were. Federal agents weren't there merely to poke around. They were seeking hard evidence that could tie Diddy to a much larger operation, one that spanned years and involved individuals far beyond his immediate circle. What they found is still being uncovered, but sources close to the investigation have hinted that the FBI seized everything from cell phones to computers to documents that could potentially blow the case wide open. And remember, this wasn't just about Diddy. There were other high-profile individuals involved, people who had attended his parties, worked for him, and been part of his world for years. As the investigation progressed, it became increasingly clear that Diddy's empire was crumbling from the inside out, exposing layers of deception and raising questions about the true nature of his influence in the
U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence. David Willis reports.
Fast forward to September 2024, and things really hit the fan. On September 16, Diddy was arrested by federal agents in New York, facing charges that made anyone's head spin: racketeering, trafficking, and even forced labor. The centerpiece of the indictment, those infamous freak-offs. According to federal prosecutors, these were not just outrageous parties. They were part of a much larger, darker scheme involving coercion, manipulation, and the exploitation of some of the most vulnerable individuals in Diddy's orbit. The gravity of these allegations marked a turning point in the unfolding scandal.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
Damon Williams, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, didn't mince words when discussing the case at a news conference the day after Diddy's arrest. He laid it all out, stating that Diddy had been abusing his power and influence since at least 2008, using his business empire as a front for more sinister activities. He abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct, Williams said, while Diddy's legal team, led by Mark Agnifilo, quickly called the prosecution unjust and unfounded. The seriousness of the charges meant Diddy could face life-altering consequences if convicted.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just about Diddy's personal actions. The indictment painted a picture of a man who had built a network of enablers, people who helped him carry out his schemes and turned a blind eye to what was happening behind closed doors. Some of these enablers were employees, while others were high-profile figures from the entertainment industry and beyond. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that Diddy's arrest was just the tip of the iceberg. The FBI was combing through years of evidence, and more names were expected to emerge as the case unfolded, widening the scope of the scandal.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
By this point, Diddy's world was in complete freefall. His legal team was working around the clock to try and clear his name, but the sheer volume of allegations made it seem like an uphill battle. While some of his famous friends initially tried to stand by him, as more details emerged, even his closest allies began to distance themselves. It didn't help that Diddy's own public statements only seemed to make things worse. After a video surfaced in May 2024 showing him attacking Cassie in a hotel hallway, Diddy took to social media to issue an apology. Instead of quelling the fire, it only fanned the flames. "My behavior in that video is inexcusable," he admitted in the clip, acknowledging that he had sought therapy. "I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted by what I did." However, the timing of the apology didn't sit well with many, including Cassie's legal team. Meredith Irog, one of Cassie's attorneys, was quick to call out the apology as a calculated move to save face. "This is more about himself than the many people he has hurt," she said, pointing out that Diddy had denied everything when the lawsuits were first filed. The fact that he only apologized after being caught on tape didn't exactly scream sincerity.
Co-defendants, but there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendants, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial, which would force prosecutors to take him to trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial.
That's when the floodgates really opened. After Cassie's lawsuit, it seemed like everyone who had ever been part of Diddy's world had a story to tell. In early September 2024, Dawn Richard, a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, filed her own lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of assaulting her and threatening her life when she tried to intervene on Cassie's behalf. Richard's lawsuit painted an even darker picture of what was happening behind the scenes, claiming that Diddy used his power to control not just Cassie but multiple women in his orbit. According to Richard, Diddy had threatened to end her if she ever crossed him, making it clear he had the power to make people disappear if they became a problem.
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name?
Right.
Solange. You gotta answer. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
By this point, Diddy's reputation was in tatters, and even those who had once been his biggest supporters began to question how much they really knew about the man behind the music. The media was having a field day, and every new revelation only worsened the situation. From the tunnels beneath his mansion to bizarre stories of secret parties and locked rooms, it was clear that Diddy's carefully crafted public image was collapsing, and fast. In October 2024, Texas-based attorney Tony Busby made headlines when he announced that he was representing more than 120 people who had come forward with their own allegations against Diddy. According to Busby, these weren't just isolated incidents. He described a pattern of behavior spanning decades, involving everything from manipulation to exploitation. Busby claimed his team had collected pictures, videos, and texts, all of which painted a damning picture of Diddy's actions over the years. The scale of the allegations was staggering, further fueling public scrutiny and drawing even more attention to the unfolding scandal.
It's interesting how when the indictment came out, folks said, well, it's no underage kids in the indictment, it's no sex with minors in the indictment, but now he's got 25 minors allegedly accused.
And here's the thing. Busby didn't stop there. He hinted that Diddy wasn't the only one involved, suggesting that there were high-profile enablers who helped cover up this behavior. These names will shock you, he stated at a press conference, promising that more lawsuits were on the way. It was clear that the case was about to get even messier, and Diddy's legal troubles were far from over. So where does that leave us now? As of late 2024, the investigation is still ongoing, and Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail to clear his name. However, with each new lawsuit and revelation, it's becoming increasingly difficult to see how Diddy can rebound from this. The man who once ruled the music world is now facing some of the most serious allegations imaginable, and the public's perception of him has changed forever. What do you think about the shocking allegations surrounding Diddy? Do you believe there's any truth to the rumors about these underground cells, or is this all just Hollywood drama gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think other celebrities could be caught up in similar scandals? Let's talk about it. See you next time.